and there's the Cohens, right? The family of the Kohanes, they were the priests, and their job was to take care of the holy temple. Okay, and they had to. It's very specific who they could marry. They can't just marry anybody. Like, I'm not a Kohen, so I could marry anybody.
You could marry a hooker.
Well, that's whether she's a hooker or not is not the thing.
No, but
I mean, a
Cohen can't marry a hooker.
No, the hooker's not the problem.
A hooker who had non-Jewish clients.
It doesn't matter if she's taking money or not.
No, who had non-Jewish clients.
A hooker is a terrible translation. If she was
Hug.
with somebody
You can marry a hooker.
who's not Jewish, even one time, she's done. But if she banged, let's say, the entire Jewish community, you know, she like moved into Pico Robertson. She banged every guy in town who's Jewish.
Yeah, a Cohen could still marry her.
A Cohen can still marry her, and even if she charged money.
Baruch Hashem.
Right. You know, let's say she charged money the whole way.
Big bucks. She was Jewish.
She was Jewish, right? And she's you know, she
wasn't doing this for fun.
No, but she was like a high class. No, she banged every guy in town. She was taking money from it, right? She's like a high class hooker, right?
Yeah.
No problem. Or she was just working the corner.
Yeah.
She's like on Pico Robertson, like, you know, hey.
Yeah, but as long as she was selective and only did Jewish guys.
As long as only did Jewish guys,
she
could marry a Cohen. But she spent her whole life with one guy, but he wasn't. Turns out he's not Jewish. He can't be.
How would that go over in the community? Like the guy, okay, she marries a Cohen, and then they go to shul on Shabbos morning, and like half the guys in shul had done this girl.
Well, we already have a mucker for that. Rachav. Remember Rachav?
Yeah.
Story about
the hoe and.
She banged every guy in the land of Canaan before we moved in there, right?
Yeah,
she was a hooker, right?
Yeah.
And who married her?
I don't remember.
Joshua.
Okay.
Joshua was
how
leader
did they
of Jewish.
Go over in shul? Like it's like.
I don't know. He was leader of Jewish people, and he married a hooker.
But, like the Jews I know, they'd find that amusing.
Maybe you're hanging out with the wrong Jews.
They'd find it repellent.
That's because they're not looking at it from a Torah perspective.
Exactly.
So that's a second misconception. So people think that, like, oh, a Kohen has to marry a virgin because they translate it incorrectly. They translate it like you did, like, oh, it's a hooker, right? It means she has to keep herself clean, right? She can't be with anybody. She can be with a lot of different people, but as long as she's not with a non-Jew, as long as she's never been, let's say no, scratch that. What are the other ones? She can't be divorced.
Yeah,
but she could be a widow.
Yeah,
she could be a widow.
Yeah.
Now, there is a guy who's a Kohen who can't be. He has to be with a virgin.
Oh, the Kohen Gadol.
The Kohen Gadol, which is the high priest. That's one guy, right? It's one guy. We don't have a high priest today because we don't have the base. We don't have the Holy Temple. We don't have the base of Mikdash. So we don't have a high priest. So nobody is the Kohen Gadol today. But here's something to think about. If the Messiah came tomorrow, we'd need a high priest again.
Yeah.
So we need at least one Kohen
and one virgin
who can be the Kohen Gadol, right?
Yeah.
So somebody's going to have to step forward, and if none of their wives were virgins, then somebody's going to have to kiss their wife goodbye and become the Kohen Gadol.
So do you think Kate Middleton, Prince, whatever, is that good for the Jews? The royal wedding?
Is that good for the Jews?
Yeah. Because I was reading Psalm 45 today, and it was all about rejoicing at a royal wedding. Well, so I was thinking, like, a Kohen, that's something hereditary that you're born into.
Right.
And so, like, Torah likes traditions and respects the need for traditions.
Oh, yeah.
And respects the need for kings. And here are two guys getting together and committing themselves to each other for the rest of their lives. And it's goyish, but it's also very much in line with Torah values.
I'll tell you like this: the Torah says that when it talks about brachas, different blessings that we say, like we say blessings over food, but we say also like special blessings.
Yeah.
Like you see a rainbow, you hear thunder, lightning, you feel an earthquake. There's a special bracha that you make.
See a beautiful woman.
See a beautiful woman.
Say a bracha.
Say a blessing on that.
What
right?
is the bracha for a beautiful woman?
I have to look it up. I don't have these things memorized.
Damn, she's hot.
Yeah, because I'm usually when I see one, I can't even think about Torah anymore. I'm usually, but what was I saying?
So brachas.
There's a blessing that you make when you see a king.
Yeah.
a king, if you come across a king, if you're in the presence of a king, you make a blessing. You could actually make a blessing, right, theoretically, when you go to this wedding, because you're in the presence of the queen, right? But the Torah is very specific. It says the person has to have power of life and death. If the king can't, if the king could look at you and say, you're going to die, right? You can make a blessing over that. I don't know that the king and queen of England have that power.
Not so much.
So that I don't know if they can qualify as that kind of a king. But still, I agree with you to an extent. There's stuff we can emulate from them. But, you know, you said the important thing, because they get married for life. Let's see if they stay married. Those royals have a really bad history. And I'm a personal believer that somebody who's from a house with divorce has a much greater likelihood that they will in turn get divorced, right? William's parents got divorced, right? So, I don't know.
They'd say in England the vice of the lower classes is fornication, the vice of the middle classes is adultery, the vice of the upper classes is incest. Because all those, you know, royals, they're always like marrying each other and stuff. So.
Right. She's not a royal.
No. No. Oh, I had this other question. So I was at a Friday night dinner. I was talking to this kind of secular Jewess, and she was really hot. She's wearing high heels, which I really like. And
we talked about that. You like that. You like the high heels.
So I wanted to be
the
more
business suit.
I wanted to be more interesting to her. So I told her that my favorite movie was Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Okay.
Do you know what that movie's about?
I have never heard of it.
Okay, it's about these cross-dressers going from Sydney to Alice Springs. So I told her, you know, I'm not really gay. I just like sparkly dresses and high heels.
Yeah, that'll turn her on. Yeah.
So I wanted to just like
wait more for the manly way in.
I wanted to be like more interesting.
Yeah.
So am I allowed to like imply to a woman that I cross-dress if it's for shidduchim purposes?
Why not?
Okay. I mean, because I really don't. Because that's against the Torah.
No, wait a second.
If I want to get married, I want to appear more interesting to a woman.
Here's the fun about Torah. Torah says you can't cross-dress.
Right.
But it doesn't say you can't lie about it.
And I can joke about it.
Right. I could say, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff, right?
Right.
But I didn't do it.
Right,
I just joke about it because I have a sense of humor, right? I have some fun with it.
Right.
You know? That's not the end of the world.
Okay,
there's
so
worse.
okay,
so those are two misconceptions. You want a third one?
Yeah.
There's actually a bunch, but I'll do one more.
Yeah.
I wrote some down as notes in case my mind.
So, sports fans, we're talking about Parashat Emor. It's Leviticus 21 to 24. I'm Levi Ben Abraham, Luke Ford, along with Rabbi Rabs and my friend, the Alexander Technique teacher Adolfo Santa Maria, waiting in the wings. So go ahead.
Another one is male. Married men becoming impure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I've heard this a lot from Jews who after reading this thing, that if a man has relations with his wife, that he becomes dirty, and he has to, halachically, according to Torah law, take a mikveh the next morning, or he is...
That's ridiculous.
Right. But because if you read the wording, he has an emission or whatever.
Right.
You know, he has relations with his wife, and then the next one, and that's what they think.
Yeah.
You know, or if he has like a wet dream,
right,
he has to take a mikveh halachically.
Right.
So that's a misconception. Today, mikveh is nothing more than minhag. If you never go to the mikveh your entire life, well, you had to. You had to because
I'm a convert.
But after that, you never have to halachically. Men.
Not married women.
Not married men. Men. Period. Men. We do go, but we go by custom.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You don't have to go halachically. The whole chapter, when it talks, or anything that's related to becoming impure, is talking about the times in the base of Migdash. There's times when you would have to bring a carbon, you know, an offering, right? And that's what it's talking about, those instances. We don't have that today. This doesn't even apply. So that whole parsha, that whole section, don't pay attention to it. It has no ramifications today.
What I get a kick out of in like Daf Yomi, this happens all the time. Daf Yomi is where you study a page of Talmud, and every day. And you go into a typical Daf Yomi class, and so you're reviewing some portion of the Talmud about some section of Jewish law, and then people always go, "Oh, so this is how we have to act today?" They don't understand. We don't paskin according to the Talmud. Paskin means decide Jewish law, And so no matter how many hundreds of Daf Yomi classes I go to,